Hey guys, happy Sunday. In my Discord this past week, I asked everyone, what is the number one ticker you want to see a video on this weekend? And the answer was Aspen Aerogels, ticker ASPN. Aspen Aerogels is a ticker that many in the Discord are actively investing in. Maybe if you're out there in YouTube world and you haven't heard of this company, spend a couple minutes with us and learn a little bit about ASPN. They have earnings this week, dropping Wednesday the 12th after market hours. And then on Thursday morning the 13th, I will be hosting a live stream before the market opens where we listen into the earnings call. Hope to see you on that one. Let's get right into the video and do a quick deep dive on Aspen Aerogels and why we're watching it. You guys know the drill by now. Always do your own due diligence. The information I share here with you today from the company's website and various data analyst sites are not investment advice for you. I'm going to be sharing some of my opinions and why we are looking at watching or investing in this stock. ASPN back in 2023 had a low of $5.33 and then a recent high of $33.15 in August of 2024. The stock is currently trading at $11.47. And as you can see, it's been on a little bit of a downtrend. That downtrend is one of the things that kind of got us interested in looking at ASPN. It also has high volatility, which makes it an interesting play to consider for the wheel strategy. And then there are the bullish analyst forecasts into 2026 and 2027. There are 10 analysts covering ASPN. You can see on the left-hand side, it is rated as a strong buy. The average price target from these analysts is $30. In recent months, in light of the United States government and administration turning over, some of these analysts have updated their price targets. We have Barclays with a updated price target in November of $25 and Canaccord on January 16th, dropping their price target from $28 to $20. That is a 12-month price target. And, you know, even if Aspen runs from $11 to $20 in the next 12 months, that is a pretty decent return. As we look at the analyst's financial and earnings per share forecast here on stockanalysis.com, you can see that the company has been steadily growing its revenue, and expectations from the market is that that revenue will continue to grow into 2025 and 2026. And when we look at earnings per share here on the third line of this table, you can see that in the past, the company had been reporting negative earnings every year, although they are expected to turn the corner on the year that just completed. We'll find out the exact full year earnings next week. But analysts are forecasting that for 2024, it will be a positive 12 cents, positive 51 cents for 2025, and positive 83 cents for 2026. Looking at a couple of data points here on the summary table, you can see it says the PE ratio is 629. Remember, that is for prior 12 months earnings. What we want to look at is the forward PE ratio. Is today's price in line with the expectations for earnings over the next 4 quarters? And that is a much more reasonable PE ratio of 24.5. A couple of things I always remind you guys to look for if you're expecting or planning to potentially hold a stock for a while is make sure you're looking at the revenue trends, the income trends, and the balance sheet. So let's take a very quick look at that for ASPN. Please spend some time and go get familiar with all of these financial statements yourself. This is just a quick snapshot video. You can see here the revenue trend for the company is on the uptrend. That is what we want to see. Net income also improving, flipping from that negative back in 2022 to a positive 2 quarters ago. You do see a negative net income last quarter. We're going to get an update in this call next week, but let's talk about real quick before we move on why there was a negative item for last quarter. When we actually look at the 10Q, there is a note letting us know that the company repurchased some convertible note and that the money that they spent to buy those notes back was classified on the income statement as a loss on extinguishment of debt. That is what we call a one-time expense. It is not related to the operations of the company. On this website, you can see that here highlighted in green as a other unusual item. Gave them a negative 13 million for the quarter. And when we look at their slide deck from last quarter, you can see here in the second row, the second negative $13 million net loss for Q3 2024. Right underneath it, where they factor out that unusual item, their adjusted EBITDA would have been $25.4 million positive. Just pointing out that you need to make sure you're understanding when there are unusual one-time items, make sure you know what those are, and make sure you have a good sense that they're not going to repeat in the next quarter, or if they even matter. Now, we like to see companies paying off convertible debt. And so that was actually a good use of cash from Aspen, and we're not going to penalize them for having that negative number on their earnings statement in Q3. A couple of other things you could look at just to do a quick drive-by. What is the health of the company? Should I spend more time digging into this one? We want to look at free cash flow, gross margins, and operating margins. The gross margins for Aspen Aerogels, around 41%, and you can see that the trend has been positive over the last several years. Operating margins also flipping to positive. Most recent quarter, 14.83% positive operating margin. Free cash flow also improving, although it is not quite positive yet. So you might say, this is still a company that you need to be careful with, and we need to see them continue to improve in this key area. If their revenues continue to grow at the rate that analysts are expecting them to, I would expect that that free cash flow is going to improve and flip positive. On the balance sheet, the company has $113 million of cash and cash equivalents. When we look at current assets and current liabilities, current assets, $305 million, current liabilities, $104 million, giving them a positive working capital of over $201 million. Looking at the solvency of the company, how do total assets compare to total liabilities? We got a good situation going on here on the balance sheet. Total assets, $782 million. Total liabilities, $274 million. That gives them a positive shareholders' equity of $507 million. After taking on new debt to pay off that convertible debt, we have $136 million of debt on the balance sheet, and that debt is due in about 5 years, August of 2029. Over on the cash flow statement, again, just a very quick high-level look. At the bottom of the cash flow statement, we have a positive net cash flow, $22 million. Operating cash flow at the top, positive $20.7 million. Investing cash flow is the money that they're spending on CapEx, negative $20 million. And then in the financing cash flow, you can see up above that, new debt issued, 178, total debt repaid, $150 million, those convertible notes. Total on the financing cash flow, $22 million. So you might be asking yourself, what the heck does Aspen Aerogels do and how long have they been around? The company was founded in 2001. They're based out of Massachusetts, and they design, develop, manufacture, and sell aerogel insulation products primarily for use in the energy infrastructure and sustainable insulation materials markets. Energy and EVs, that's basically what I want you to take away from this. I have highlighted here in green all of the lists of their different types of products that are used in the industrial and thermal barrier segments. And I'm going to put a link to both their website where I want you to go read about their products and get familiar with them. If you're even contemplating investing or looking into this company, that would be a great place to start. Go read about all of their products and all of the different sectors where their products are used, including energy and automotive. And I'm also going to put in the video description a link to a 30-minute webcast held back in November. Barclays interviewing the CFO of Aspen Aerogels. And I think that that is a great talk, a great interview that you guys should go listen to hear not only how over the last couple of years they've been managing their CapEx and forecasting what's going on in the EV market and when they need to spend money or not spend money to grow their company. And in that interview, you will hear them talking about this conditional approval of a loan from the Department of Energy for $670 million for ASPN to build a second manufacturing plant, which will be located in Register, Georgia. And I'm waiting to hear now what is the latest on this loan. And I think that as we flipped from the Biden to the Trump administration, the company is waiting to hear if they are still going to get the final approval for this loan. Maybe we will hear more about it in the earnings call next week. I think from what I recall hearing and reading over the past several weeks is that some of this forecasted revenue growth from the company is dependent on that Department of Energy loan and a second manufacturing plant. That's how you get this sort of revenue forecast and higher earnings. So that is something important that we need to pay attention to and see what updates they have. I hope you guys spend a little bit of time getting more familiar with this company. Join us next week. Thursday morning, I'll have a live stream where we will listen to the earnings call together before the market opens. The earnings release, though, is going to be the night before, Wednesday the 12th, after the market closes. So we'll get the numbers. Maybe we'll get a press release. And then Thursday morning, we'll get to hear not only management talk, the CEO and the CFO, but perhaps we will hear some analysts' questions and back and forth there as well. If you guys have any questions or comments, please drop them for me down below. Also, look for the ASPN, Aspen Aerogels Reddit subgroup. Be sure and join that and contribute any comments, news, questions you have over there. I am Tony DiNardo. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.